Hey, I have been deep in some infrastructure work this last few weeks because I need to improve a lot of code before I can make the improvements to CueCam and everything else that I want to make. So just for fun, I thought today I'd show you why I'm doing all this work and take you through my vision for Shoot, CueCam Presenter, Video Pencil as a fully featured live video production suite. Hey, this is Square's TV App Lab number 108, where we talk about ways to improve your remote communication abilities. I'm Michael Forrest, and I make Video Pencil, Shoot, and CueCam Presenter, among other things, like all this stuff. And we're going to start with some updates. So, last week I shipped a new update to Video Pencil that people were asking for, which was just the ability to make it, to control the shuttle wheel sensitivity. So I'll just sort of show you what that looks like. If I can find my pencil. So this is the shuttle wheel down here. And basically, if you load in a video, if I can do that, is it going to be? I should have prepared a video to demo this because I always come back to this one of Harvey. So here's a video. And basically, you can swipe through, but it was kind of set to quite a low setting. So I'm going to bring myself back into picture-in-picture. So it was on quite a low setting down here, so it took quite a lot. So now you can actually say, okay, I want that to go 15 seconds. So it means you can, like, if you're a sports coach or something, or if you're commenting on some longer footage, it's much easier to get to the right place. So I'll probably still have it on a relatively short thing, but if you want to go a bit longer, you can now do that. So that's what that's all about. So everything else, I've been looking at camera LUTs as well. I'm now hyper conscious of how I'm slightly red tinged, even with my improved camera settings, thanks to Neil. But I'm sort of feeling like, I've noticed that it's not 100% right with the color profiles, and you'll notice that on screen shares as well. And because I've been banging my head against that for a couple of days, I'm super conscious of it. But I'm also finding maybe this is something that I fix with the new updates that I've been working on, because it's proving almost impossible to fix with my current the way I'm currently doing things with the video feeds. So, there we go. So I'm going to just jump in and tell you what I've been thinking about, and just hope that someone says hi. And so first I wanted to, so there's three apps, like CueCam, Video Pencil, Shoot, are the main things I'm focused on, and they all work together. So I can have my, you can use your phone as a webcam, and also as a teleprompter, and also as your program feed, and you can have your iPad, you can draw on your thing, and so I can see what's coming out of my Mac, and I can see it on my iPad screen, and they're all very nicely connected. So it's just like, how do we develop that further, and what can we do? But the first thing I've really been looking at is, I've been doing these weekly workshops, webinars with people, and just sort of noticing the little things, the smaller and smaller things that trip people up when they first launch CueCam, and just thinking about how I can just really make more and more of the user interface a lot more sort of intuitive, and just sort of like make everything sit where it needs to be. So for example, I'm sort of thinking about, I think there's sort of something like the camera window. Sorry, this is I'm just going to go back because I feel like it's been weird about putting me picture in picture. It should be going. Let me just check. Oh, because I've been. We should be a virtual green screen. Where's my look? Okay, there we are. I'm picture in picture, and then I've just got to move my microphone out of the way. So I think, I've been working on this stuff, basically. That was why it wasn't happening. So I think the camera window, for example, which is a thing that sort of like trips people up a bit, I think. You're not sure which window's which. I think the camera window probably just sits up in the status bar, like Video Pencil cameras did. I think I probably got it right the first time, and I just think like, and then it's kind of accessible all the time, because at the moment CueCam's drop-down window is a bit sort of small, and it doesn't really have the camera feed. And I always thought that was an optimization to me, because you weren't necessarily going to use CueCam's virtual camera every time you launched it. I thought like a lot of the time you'd just be editing a script, but now I'm like, it's fine if it's running, especially with the new optimizations I'll be doing. I think it won't be a problem to kind of have that running and have that sort of up in the menu bar. And then that sort of takes a whole window out of the equation. So that was just something I was thinking about. Some of these are just little ideas. Something else I've been thinking about is what's the teleprompter? So at the moment, the teleprompter, is this going to work? The teleprompter looks like this, right? So it's this sort of floating thing, but this is in a special window, which is separate. And it's sort of like not always clear how that lines up with, say, like presentation mode, which looks like this, or, you know, like where does this stuff all fit? So I was thinking like, well, I should just, if I was, this sort of came to me as I was thinking about, how do I, say we don't have the sidebar when we're editing along here, like could I still have just like a full screen editing experience? In which case then we could just bring the card in like that, and you could just kind of go up and down through your slides the way you would in Keynote, and just like sort of that becomes this kind of floating window that's always interactive, or it could be docked sort of underneath the camera feed. And then, but then also it'd be a loose window, so you could just drag that anywhere, like, and it would be your teleprompter window, right? And then you could like sort of expand it out, and it would become it would have the program feed in it, and it would become what the current teleprompter window, and it just sort of like unify everything between these different areas where currently there's a few too many windows is the problem. And then maybe it like expands out, and you can sort of see like it will always look like the cue cards are supposed to look, and you know it sort of like brings in the next and previous buttons as, you know, as appropriate. So this is just you know, it's just like little stuff like that. Just like let's reduce the number of windows, let's increase that sort of like coherence between editing, presenting, because I still think that's a sort of stumbling block for a lot of people. The next thing, I also want to add a load more typographic options. So at the moment, you get sort of one font setting. You can set it per cards, but it's sort of like, it's quite a simplistic typography-wise. And I just like to give you a larger variety of different typographical choices. But I'm also thinking about like font pairings like this. So like, I instead of just having like one font, I'd like it to be a sort of like relatively opinionated. Should I just bring my brightness up a little bit? I've been playing with my, yeah, let's just have a bit of brightness here. I'm just going to bring up the ISO a little bit. Yeah, just thinking about how you have two fonts, right? One for the kind of the smaller text and one for the headlines, and I think that starts to bring things a bit more together. And that's something I'm kind of thinking about. You know, how can I kind of provide those as options? And then you can sort of see you can have different kinds of, you know, different vibes for different types of presentations in a way that other things will let you, but a bit more sophisticated than just like, here's one font and it's in different sizes, which is kind of the current situation. But like a really important thing I'm working on is how to make things feel super snappy and instantaneous. So I just, you know, I'd like to be able to like press next on the beat, right, and it move, you know, it's in time with the music, right? I'd like to have that level of synchronization. I just heard Discord, and now I'm like, is someone saying that something's not working? No, it's fine. But yeah, I just really like it to be just, you know, you press, it's 30 frames a second. It shouldn't be that hard to kind of go next, and it should just be on the next thing, and just be able to sort of hammer through these things. And then it becomes, because I've noticed like CueCam's, if you try and do comedy with CueCam, it's like it's not quite tight enough, and so just having that musical or comedic tightness, I think, would unlock a lot of possibilities. Hi, John. Thanks for coming. And also, I got this is a discussion on Discord. I got this little kind of like tiny little Bluetooth controller, and I thought, well, it'd be nice if I could just like use this, and then there's a few more buttons, and it could be like, here's my aside button, here's my, I don't know, next, previous, you know, sort of have some stuff like that to just have it in my hand. And although I guess it would have to be in the other hand from my Apple Pencil, I should make the buttons on the pencil navigate through the script, shouldn't I? So if you can press that button and it kind of goes to the next card, that'd be quite good as well. But yeah, just like game controller support, and then that sort of like really cements that it's supposed to be kind of, this should be as interactive as a game, not like some slightly fudgy Adobe Premiere type experience. So the next thing is like, and with that, like I'd like to be able to bring in like punchy kind of animated bullets and like special effects and stuff, you know? So like just being able to press sort of next as though it's bullet points, but instead it's like smash, slats, you know, it's the words can kind of come in full screen with an animation, a big transition. And just to sort of like really help you kind of emphasize what you're saying in a more kind of YouTuber-y, video-y way. So I think that's that's something that would sort of create a lot of, again, like we're sort of saving editing by doing all this stuff in camera, and the more kind of features like that I can add where it's sort of like doing fun stuff on camera, I think that just like makes it all a bit more interesting and a bit more fun. So that's kind of stuff that with my new rendering engine is going to become a lot more straightforward. But also along with like just doing big stuff like that, something like say you're doing a programming tutorial or, you know, some sort of software tutorial, just being able to bring up like what the keyboard shortcut that was just pressed was onto the screen, into the feed. Currently sort of at the limits of what I can do architecturally the way it works at the moment, but it would be relatively trivial to add stuff like that once I've got my new rendering engine up and running. So this is all these little things that are currently kind of, I'm pushing at the edges of what I can do, and I've got all these ideas of how I could like help you communicate better using CueCam. I'd also like to be able to like you know, have a bit more flexibility with what goes on cards, and the key to that is really like, at the moment you can do sort of you know, you've got that exclamation mark, and you can have like an image .png. Well, why? But you could. Why can't you just go like USB video, you know, or like you know, cat.gif, right? In the same way, like bring those feeds, or like you know, Xcode, and have it just be inline and sort of adjustable as part of a slide in the way that those other things are, you know, like the images are, like, so as well as images in line and sort of adjustable and flexible, and you can change the padding and stuff, we could bring video feeds in as well, and then you could have like you know, stuff like this. So like I'm on one side and we can sort of drag this, you know, we've got that resizable thing, and then if we could just put a screen share on that side, then that just like is kind of mostly what people want to do, I think. So, you know, there's all that kind of thing, and then just you know, once I've got that, you know, there's that also, I'll be able to add trivial stuff, you know, stuff like saturation and gamma correction and adjustable LUTs, and this is going to be a lot easier to add once I've got my new rendering engine, and some crazy filters as well if I do decide to do that. And then, you know, for introducing new features, I think, you know, why would I have like pop-ups and drop-downs and boxes coming down when I could make the onboarding, that sort of introduction experience, like part of your camera feed. So like if you do something good, I could just like put you in the spotlight and go, hey, well done, and you know, all this kind of stuff. I could make it a lot more rewarding to kind of learn all the ins and outs of CueCam by sort of embracing that video canvas and just having fewer kind of controls around it. Just like let's bring stuff in, like attaching like a text thing to kind of where you are, and doing sort of fun stuff like that. So let's, you know, there's ways that I could make this a lot more kind of juicy and enjoyable by adding that kind of thing. And then another thing I've been thinking about is the recording experience. So sometimes you mess up halfway through a script, which means sort of like, okay, I'm going to mark that take as good, but then I'm going to start from this card, and then I'm going to stitch them together in Final Cut. But you know, CueCam could just easily track each take with your script, and then like basically like let you mark which takes are good, or like replay them and select from them, and then actually just let you export a final take, which is just the good ones, all without kind of going into a video editor. So this is something I've been thinking about wanting to do, but also just even if it wasn't like manual kind of adjustments, it could just be, oh, I messed up that card. I just press kind of try again, and it just like cuts to the start of where that card was that you just started, and just like continues recording from there. So you can just like build up a good take just by pressing like, oh, I'm just going to try that again. Oh, I'm just going to try that again. And then once you're going, you know, I think that would be a really great way of recording with CueCam that would give you a bit more safety than the current experience, which is, you know, I think being forced to do another take is not always a terrible thing. Most of my best recordings come from maybe something was messing up and I had to keep doing it over and over again. But each time you do it, you do get a little bit better. So I think like there is something to be said for just like starting all over again and just getting one good take. But it'd be good to have some options where like if it's like a 40-minute video and you just want to like redo that, you can just kind of hit something on your Stream Deck and try again, or hit something on your little you know, game controller and try again. I mean, another big feature that this is another shower thought, but this is something I'm quite excited to get started on at some point. So CueCam can sync documents to the cloud. At the moment, I'm sort of using it for my own like live streams and scripts and stuff like that. But I've realized, like, what if you could just collaborate on a script in a browser and just invite anyone, and so you'd have your script here, your CueCam script, like synchronized with your Mac, and then you could chat with someone else and sort of work on that script. But through that same interface, you could collaborate with AI as well. So we could have like, you could sort of be like, okay, ChatGPT, can you help me with the structure, or help me with just tidy up some of this language? Can I am I repetitive anyway? Do that kind of script editing stuff with the robot, but also be able to get a person involved, and also have them be able to like provide clips and B-roll and things to your script. And so I think like something like a cloud editing collaboration thing for CueCam would really unlock a lot of amazing stuff. I see Jeff says, hi Michael, where's your thinking on building out the audio capabilities, such as supporting real-time plugins and basic device control for like channel 1 for mic, channel 3 for computer audio? Jeff, there is some of that already, but I don't know if you've been paying attention to my real-time Swift series, but for the new framework, I have figured out how to use audio unit plugins as part of that. And I think I'm going to be fairly light touch with it, but I did figure out, and you'll see this in I think it's number 6, you'll see that I've figured out how to get like the audio unit interfaces up. But I think like it starts with, let's just have like a voice isolation toggle in there, like on the microphone. And you can select, I don't know quite what you mean, like channel 1 for mic, channel 3 for computer audio. So if you want to like flesh that out a little bit more, because I don't want to sort of miss any tricks here, but you can currently select which, I'm shying away from, I'm very comfortable with a big mixer, right? Like I've done a lot of music production, but I don't think CueCam should be that. I don't think CueCam should have like a mixer, right? I just think it can make most of those decisions for you, and it's sort of like I'm interested in hearing where you've kind of come up against limitations that you wish weren't there. But I have figured out how to do the audio stuff, and the new framework that I'm working on, video transitions are quite tightly linked with audio, so I can sort of like manage those things together, which then means we can start to have like transition sound effects, right? We can have like proper fades as videos come in and out, right? All that kind of thing is going to be possible with the new system that I've been working on, and the reason that I look so tired. And then, so that's sort of some CueCam thoughts, but I've also been thinking about Video Pencil. So what if in Video Pencil we had a site? I mean, this will be, by the time I do this will be very much a what do they call it? Liquid glass sidebar that kind of hovers over the Video Pencil user interface when you slide it out. But at the moment, you've got your media browser, which is just like all random selection of clips that you've recently opened. But what if you could assemble like a sequence in the same way that you can in CueCam? So to start off with, that might just be, I'm going to do this video, then this video, then this video, and then maybe you'll split the videos, or maybe you'll like, trim and split those videos to the right points, and you can just like have a much more, and just be on the iPad. So then, we could use the same controls. So we've already got like an interface for controlling CueCam when it's connected remotely, but we could use that to just do it on the iPad, and you wouldn't necessarily even need the Mac, but you could synchronize, but those scripts would be in CueCam Presenter format. So like we could build that out over time. So you could like put something together with some videos on your Mac and like bring it onto your iPad, and then you're sort of ready for your coaching session without needing your Mac. Or what about just like a standalone setup with Shoot as your camera and teleprompter? So we use this just direct wireless connection between the phone and the teleprompter, the phone and the iPad, so that you could just like be ready with your script, be making eye contact, and just kind of get recordings without even needing a computer at all, and sort of maybe sort of expand this open a bit more so that you're sort of writing your script in there rather than just like putting in a few clips. So this is something that I'm trying to get to as well. This is something that I think would be awesome. Although I really like, I'm really excited about the idea of being able to click the button on the Apple Pencil to be able to advance through my script. So that's just something else that I need to look at. Hi Neil, thanks for coming, and thanks for making me look at camera LUTs this week, even though I have not. I've just realised I've found the limitations of my current rendering system, and I have not, despite ChatGPT giving me all sorts of like corrective LUTs to apply before I apply my LUT, because I'm not doing proper colour stuff. Like it's all going to be. I checked it with my new system, and that then looks the way it's supposed to look. So once the new rendering engine is in, all our colour problems should be solved. But yeah, thanks for joining, Neil. Good to see you. So anyway, yeah, another thing I've been thinking about. So we're actually like, I'm not going to be doing a hugely long session today, even though I'm seeing a nice graph of people here. So please feel free to sort of fire off some questions. Sometimes sometimes I write a draft of it. So you should always like write a whole draft, but then you sort of tend to go for a walk, right? You sort of want to walk, just clear your head for a minute now that you've kind of got all that stuff down. But what's really cool is like, what if I could like just grab my phone while I'm out for my walk and just like, edit the script a little bit. So I'm thinking about like maybe a new app called CueCam Camera that just does all the CueCam related stuff and just not all the like the NDI, browser remote, backwards compatibility stuff that Shoot has in it, and just like really leans into the kind of like the CueCam interactions, but also offered an editor that was synchronized with your script on your Mac, so that when you go out for a walk, you can just like update a few things. Oh, I want to talk about that. Oh, I forgot to mention that. And you can sort of go in and edit your script and do that. But also like we could, like, why not just be able to capture B-roll like while you're out and about as well, and just automatically save that onto the right card in the script. And then when you come back to your Mac, it's there. Or even like, you could like, could I like hold my camera, have my teleprompter going? It's all on the phone. I do my take, and that's now synchronized to that card on that script. So when I come back and do my live stream, I've got like this little cutaway to like a B-roll of me talking about something. And you could like, I think, assemble some quite cool stuff, couldn't you? So I could like do my little asides to camera while I'm walking along the river or somewhere, and sort of like break it up a little bit from just being like me in an office against a wall, which is, the normal situation, isn't it? So that's kind of what I've been thinking about. So, we're talking about refined UI for CueCam. We're talking about finding. I messed up the padding on the cards. We're talking about getting like frame perfect and like really responsive transitions, like trying to get that like you could do it on the beat musically. The concept of takes, being able to like. Either like redo from a certain, just, oh no, I just made a mistake. Just press retry, like try again, and it just kind of rewinds to the start of that card, and you just try, and then you just still get one video file at the end of it. Like that sort of takes or more sophisticated stuff. We can like more sophisticated design systems, being able to like have more typography, having all that kind of stuff, having like dynamic, splashy kind of text effects and transitions. Like I've been looking at all that with the new engine. More kind of like slide options, more ways of building up slides. Human and AI collaboration, like through sort of through a browser interface. Like stuff like Video Pencil docs and scripts. Mac-free recording using Video Pencil and Shoot, and not using the Mac, and like Shoot, the CueCam iPhone app on Mac. You see, like it looked right on the designer, but it doesn't look right on the screen. Yeah. Anyway, Neil says, I love to take walks and create assets. Lovely idea to strike. Yeah, I'm so lucky in Edinburgh to have such beautiful scenery, and I never really use it because it's like a headache. And if I could just have this like this card of my script and just like record it, or two cards worth, and just like take it, and I can just like read it off, or just kind of see what I've got to say, and then just bring that into CueCam. Wouldn't that make these videos a bit more fun and interesting? Just being able to sort of, and just like, oh, I want to shoot this bit about petrol by a petrol station. You just kind of go out there, get the shot, and like it's already in. You don't have to do any editing. You don't have to manage any assets. But yeah. there are a huge number of feature requests on Discord. I have to sort of, and so this is kind of, I am tracking them all. So this is what's kind of like coming. Shall I do a sync, see if anything else has come through? I've got my CueCam issues, I've got my shoot issues, my video pencil issues. Some of these I think are actually fixed and I just need to audit them. But, you know, some of these are going to be improved, but they're just a bit more architectural than, you know, I don't want to like keep hacking away at a sort of basically flawed engine, and I want to like sort of address these at the root and then be able to build more on top of it instead of fixing a bug and sort of just about getting something working and then being scared to touch it. That's kind of where I'm going to here at the moment. So, you know, things like, oh, can we fade out, you know, can we fade out videos? Can I control things better? There's black frames when it's rendering. Can we have some more options for, you know, there's a lot of options here. LUTs intensity is another one. Loads of these are kind of stuff that is going to be a lot easier to add once I have a better engine. But also this engine isn't just for CueCam. This is going to work on, well, I don't want to make too much, but the idea is it will work on iPhone and iPad as well. So I'll be able to sort of start to really share a lot more of that code between the Mac app and the iPhone app and the iPad apps. So yeah, that's really like, I mean, it's a lot of things, but actually like once I kind of wrote them all down and sketched them all out, you know, in my sort of like scrappy way, I finally bought concepts today because I did a load of diagrams the other week in Figma, and then you can't export an SVG out of it, so I couldn't do any nice animations with it. So now I'm like, okay, I'm going to always do my stuff in concepts, and then if I want an SVG that I can animate, then I can get it out, which Apple doesn't want to give me that. But yeah, so concepts, I did a few drawings today, but actually I was quite surprised that there wasn't more, because I think I've been quite overwhelmed by how many things I want to try and do, and each one of these little things ends up being a bit of a rabbit hole as well. And there's always new ideas happening all the time. Like it's just like once I've got my audio effects in the pipeline, we could have like, for emphasis, fade out, darken the background, right, and then put you in an echoey room for like one card. This will be the future, and then just kind of come back to the thing, and the reverb tail can continue, and you know, we can start to do all that kind of fun emphasis, all that fun kind of like storytelling stuff that currently is pretty crude in terms of transitions, in terms of what you can present. I think it's still like really great. I really enjoy working with CueCam more than anything else. I think I attributed what John said to Neil. Sorry, John. Hi, John. So there's loads of stuff I want to do, but there's just a lot of foundational architectural stuff that I'm working on. So this basically July, I've said, okay, I'm just going to focus on this tech stuff. I'm going to let the videos slide a little bit, but I think the idea is August, I'm going to get back on that kind of daily video horse. But it does mean once video production is a priority, it's a lot harder to do deep technical work. And I'm just, so I'm hoping once I've got this stuff, the basics of it all working, and the major bugs kind of fixed and the major structural things worked, I can start to look at getting a beta out in the next like month or so using a completely different rendering engine, and we can start to kind of see what that feels like when we use it in earnest. So that's where I'm up to. That's what I'm thinking about. So thanks for joining. You can come at this. I've messed up the padding on cards, so I'm sorry. It's adding padding twice. It's adding padding around every text thing as well as to the outside of the thing. So I added that was another thing I added last week, was the ability to adjust the padding. But I've kind of messed up the implementation a little bit, so I need to just fix that. But yeah, if you want to come and join us on Discord, squares.tv/Discord, everyone's welcome. Come and ask questions. Come and just let's chat. And I might actually just kind of like go on to video chat on there now, since everyone's out and I've just been for a walk before. So I think I might do a little bit of a mini after party on Discord if you want to come and say hi. So the only thing that's left to say is, last week there's an app called Loopy for iPad, which just lets you do music loops, and it got a big update. Like Loopy, I should know, was it 3? But basically, the creator of that his name is Michael Tyson, and his audio framework is the thing I've been using since like 2012. And I sort of like I got it out again for CueCam once nothing else was working for me. Even though he sort of says no, use the other stuff. I was like, actually, I can't. I need to use the serious stuff. But yeah, like I saw that he's released a new thing. But it reminded me of how I used his app back 11 years ago. So I thought I'd just show you this video where I stuck a GoPro on my head and played this little improvisation live. And I'll sort of draw some annotations on it. And then once that's finished, I might even before that, I'll just jump onto Discord and we can hang out. So thanks for watching, everyone. Great to see so many people here today. Yeah, really happy so many people have turned up today. And yeah, I'll see you in a couple of weeks, or hopefully before. Many of you, I'm sure I'll see before then. All right, take care. Have a good rest of your week. And we shall wait. Whoops. Okay, I'm gonna have to talk you through it as it says. So Loopy is this on the iPad. This is like a little fun music app that I use to play the little piano parts. Got my microphone up here. That's going through the Chaos Pad. Oh, this Chaos Pad, I can track my voice. I use this to sort of like more tightly trigger the loops on Loopy, so that's connected to there. I've got the OP1 there, I've got a delay unit there. Yeah, 2 Chaos pads, and then there's this beat station up that way. So it's very hard to annotate when you see I'm sort of like tweaking that. We'll play this.